Hey, it's Jeff from Home RenoVision, and today I'm standing here inside of a fiberglass shower enclosure that I want to turn from this nasty brown to white. Called the local refinishing company. They quoted me $1,200. And if you're like me, you think that was outrageous. So what I did is I went shopping online and I found 4 different products that are available. We're going to test them all right here, right now, and then I'm going to do a water test on this product. Over the course of the next week or so, we're going to give a solution to you and give my results, what I think is the best product for you to do your own refinishing project. So we're going to go through the EcoPel, the Bathworks Magic, and the Nadamo. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but that's fine. These two are both sprayers, okay? These two are both 2-part epoxies that you mix and apply. This one gets rolled on. This one you just pour on and let it drip down the wall, and then you fuss around and manipulate and paint after. They all have one thing in common. They all want you to do the same preparation. So that's cool. So if you have an existing tub or tile, a lot of times you'll have tub with tile, silicone. Silicone is an enemy in this situation. You got to remove it. So I'm going to show you on this joint here. And for the purpose of our understanding, yes, I'm ripping this out and putting in a new shower later down the road, but I'm taking this opportunity to teach you guys what the options are before I rip it out. So you just take your knife and you would score. And it's okay to scratch your fixture in this situation because you're going to be covering that scratch with more silicone. And you get one of these little razor blade scrapers and you get underneath that, okay? And you should be able to remove that silicone from the surface with your scraper. All right, and you can take whatever time it takes to be as diligent as you need to be. Remove all that silicone. If there's any residues, come back with the scraper and get rid of it, okay? Now, warning, these blades don't last very long, okay? You might need to go 2, 3, 4 blades to do around a tub. All right, so be careful with that. Once you see something like that's clean, now you're ready to go with the next process is basically to wash the tub. The tub surfaces, they all get covered in grime and soap, okay? So again, the scraper is what you're gonna need here. Hopefully, this cleans off the soap. Now you see all that? If you don't remove that, your paint has nothing to bond to. Look at this. It looks like it's clean, right? Check this out. This is called soap scum. It's a residue that's sitting on your tub. Every tub has got this surface. So you've got to remove this crap before you get started. Or you aren't going to have a surface that your epoxies or your paint can bond to. Yeah, believe it or not, that is in your tub too. What we're going to do is we're going to test on a vertical surface and in the bottom of the tub. Once we're done and it's cured, we're actually going to fill the tub with water and we're going to let it sit for a whole day and then drain it. And then once it's dry, we'll come back and test the performance of it at the end of the video. Now, the next part of this test requires a little bit of care. If you've never worked with this product before, it's basically a powdered bleach, okay? What we want to do is we want to create a paste with it. So I'm going to pour a bunch of this right here. And I worked for this stuff for years. My mother would use this stuff cleaning the toilets. We just pour it in the toilet, let it foam up and bubble. What we're gonna do is just add a little bit of water. Turn this into a paste. There we go. We're gonna take this paste and we're gonna just scratch up all of our test area. Make sure that we're giving fair representation to all these products. And to the bottom of the tub as well. Once we got that, now that we've got that soap residue out of the way, this will do a nice job of cleaning that surface. Now, this doesn't need to sit, it doesn't need any time to set up, just scrub it and wash it off. What I'm going to recommend is you grab some steel wool. This is course number 3. It's a coarse steel wool, okay? And what we're going to do with this is we're going to give it one more rub just to make sure that all of our cleaning residue is released, and then we're going to rinse it again. And this is like sanding the surface with about a 400 grit, which really, it's not just cleaning, it's also prepping their surface so it has something to bond to when you paint. All right, here we go. Now that the surface is cleaned and ready for paint, we have to also let it dry. Remember, leave lots of time here because if there's any moisture at all on the surface when you start these processes, of course you're going to trap moisture underneath the paint and it's not going to bond and you're going to end up with a problem because you're going to have some wear and tear, and then the paint will be separated, and it'll move independently, and it'll break and blister. We're going to come back to this later this afternoon. All right, here we go. We're going to start off with this product. I have actually seen this done in other YouTube videos before. Okay, so I've seen the process. I understand it's messy. You really want to make sure that you use tarps or plastic. Tape it to the bottom of the tub. You want to isolate your area. This stuff is really brutal. But this has the greatest claims out of all the products, okay? So it claims to be ready in 24 hours. Now, just to be kind, we're going to give all of these products 3 days to set up. okay? But it says 24 hours, it's ready to go. No peels, it's odorless, which is nice. Extra low VOC, has an extreme gloss, that's nice. But it comes in at $160 for the kit. And for the tub and the shower, you need 2 of them, all right? So that's 320 bucks. It claims to be done in 24 hours, so you don't really have much downtime. So you could refinish if you only have 1 bathroom, suffer 24 hours, and then have your shower, okay? So that's the good news. We're gonna find out what this is like to work with, and then we're gonna see what it looks like finished, and then we're also gonna do, at the very end, we're gonna do a scratch test. I'm gonna pull out some quarters, and we're gonna scratch this all up and see if these things hold up. Because, you know, if you've been in a tub and a shower refinished, you've got a wedding ring, and you've ever slipped, put your hand out to grab and hold yourself, the last thing you want to do is have that paint come peeling off the bloody wall, right? So we're going to do a scratch test. Now, at 320 bucks, 24 hours, the other advantage, low VOC. That's what they're claiming. I'm not a salesman for them. I don't know. And yeah, we'll put links in the video description, but make sure you watch the whole video, find out, because this one is incredibly messy. It's ready quick. This one's incredibly messy. It doesn't have low VOCs, and it takes a couple of days to set up. And then these two are really quick and simple, and they're stinky, but they're super cheap. So if the cheap works just as good as the messy one, why would you waste your money? That's what I'm going to say. Give you all the information. If you have a tub and it's steel and you have a chip in it, you can repair it. Now there is a tub repair glaze, okay, that's on the market. It comes in a little tube. You can get it at the local hardware store. Or lots of guys I know like to use the Bondo, and it's the automotive repair kit. And you can get these little pads here, they're rubber spatulas, and it's a fiberglass repair kit. You've got to buy the liquid resin though. Don't just get the Bondo in the bucket and this and think you're good. You got to be able to mix it with this, read the instructions, mix it properly, make sure it's going to be hard enough, and then you're going to have to sand that stuff. It's a real mess. For me, I'm going to be using the Bondo spatula just to maneuver with the product, because we're going to do a vertical and then we're going to do it on the floor, okay? So here's our kit. It's a 2-part epoxy. So we're going to mix this in with this. Nice and simple, right? Okay, wash it, of course. Masking tape, of course. Now, having said that, you're going to want to get some tape. And you don't have to use the blue. Remember, this is not direct sunlight. It's only overnight. You can buy the brown stuff for $3, or you can buy the blue stuff for 10. It's up to you. But you're supposed to mask off your tub, right, before you go. And so I'm going to put this on here just as a demonstration. Make sure you mask things off. It says mix part A and part B by hand. Bend container in half and begin pouring from the top of the tub. Yeah, so far the VOCs aren't that bad. Okay, now I got my cameraman a mask. I've got one as well if I find that it's necessary, mixing the 2 parts together. One is clear glossy goo, and the other one is white. One other thing before we go forward. I'm working with a beige or ivory color. If you have one of those blue or hot pinks or green sink and tub combos and you're gonna do the resurfacing, you might wanna order an extra kit, okay? Because you're probably gonna need extra coats. This is going to take some work. Nice and easy, because the white stuff is really thick and the clear goo will splash. I would even recommend wearing safety goggles. It's on the list in the product. It's what you should do for safety. Make sure that the consistency is solid. I am not going to continue mixing this and breaking my arm when I don't see any physical change in the product. This is thinner and looser than it was when I was mixing. All right, so we want to give this a couple of good mixes again. Put in a good another minute or so. If it stays too thick, you could pour it on the wall and it would just hang there. And you know you're gonna be like, I need 7 pails. All right, now remember, if you want to see this done properly, we'll put a link in the video description. And basically, I'm just gonna go like this, and you'll see that this stuff just runs all over the place. So the concept of this product is here. It runs down, you can take a scoop and you can lift it back up again. And then let it drip all over the place. That's how it applies. It goes on the wall and then starts to drip and hang. So when you're doing your own tub, you go along the whole back wall, allow all this to come down, make a mess, then you do inside the bottom, then you do the outside. Okay, so it's a progression. Now, I'm not gonna wait because I'm not doing the whole tub. This is just a comparison product. We're gonna put a little bit of this on the floor here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna manipulate this a little bit. This is like a self-leveling glaze. And it says, pour it, roll it with a roller, light pressure to move the material around. When you're doing oil and epoxy, you always start at the bottom and you roll things up, okay? So I have uneven coats here. All right, and you see, I can use the paint roller to move material around, and then it'll self-level again. and then I could roll that up the wall. Now I'm not going to test the scratch test here. What I am going to do is see how it works on a surface that wasn't cleaned properly. Let's just do this whole market test area here. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not moving the product around as much as I would have liked. This goes on really, really thick. Now, is it just me or does that not look like it's going to cover in one coat? So it's really thick on the bottom. It doesn't seem to be very thick up here. So going over top of a brown tub, I'm not crazy about the coverage. We're going to see how it works out in the wash. That one's done now. Okay, that's the end of the product. You roll it on, you pour it on, you roll it on, sorry, and then you let it sit. And apparently, 24 hours later, you can have a shower. Okay, so now we're dealing with Bathworks. Now this one is also a 2-part epoxy finish, okay? And just like the last one, it has a very similar claim to how many square feet it'll cover, in the fact that it claims to cover 120 square feet. Now, if you have a tub like this with a wall surround, that's exactly 120 square feet, okay? So 60 for the tub and 60 for the wall. So this is actually only about a 5-foot surround, 60 inch. So 5 times 3, 3 and 6 is 11, 5 is 55 square feet for the wall surround. So this basically says it'll do the whole thing for 69. Wow, that's quite a price difference. Even if I needed 2, I'm only at 140 bucks. So 2 of these is still cheaper than 1 box of the other. Just saying, that's the deal. Now, this one claims, ready for this? 24-hour dry time. Careful now, because I read through the instructions, and in the very back in the small print, it says do not expose to water for 48 hours. So, the first one's actually 24. This one, it might be dry, but you can't use the shower. 48 hours dry time. That means if you do this on a Saturday morning, you can't have a shower till Monday. Hope you got a gym membership somewhere, or another bathroom in the house. Doesn't say anything about low VOCs. Says it's strong and durable. Used by professionals. That's nice. Tub, tiles, sinks, all this kind of jazz. Non-skid. That's the other thing. That's a selling feature of this one. This one has an additive that after you've done all the walls and you've done all of the surface, you're supposed to have a little bit of the product left. And then they have this little additive. You pour in the rest of the product, you mix it up, and it's non-skid coating, and you add that to the bottom of the tub, okay? So that you have an anti-slippery surface. Not a bad little function, right? Okay, we got a mixing container. We got refinishing paint. Seems like an awful small bucket of paint for 120 square feet. Just out of observation out of the gate. Nobody's paying me to do this. I'm just taking the opportunity. I would rather try these things myself and make all the mistakes and find out if there's any validity to them. Save you guys the aggravation. Because remember, if it doesn't work, you got to peel it off. Okay, there's a hardener. There's my primer. Non-skid additive. Kind of looks like little white sand. Non-skid additive. That's what we use in the painting world. Whenever you're outside and you have non-skid on a patio or a sidewalk or around a pool, it's just somebody sprinkling sand and putting a second coat of paint. We do have a liquid primer. This product operates different than other products because it has a liquid primer. So this little vial of snake oil here, you're supposed to put it on a rag and you rub it over, okay? It's like a self-etching. It's probably smells like an alcohol-based product, and that's great. It's just a cleaner. And it might do something to the paint surface so that it's ready to bond better. I'll give that a minute. Proper ventilation, gloves, eyewear, strongly recommended. Now here's the thing. This one was low VOC. This one is all the VOC you can handle, baby. Okay, part A, refinishing paint, and part B, hardener. Empty both containers in the bottle into the mixing container. Mix thoroughly for 3 minutes with a stir stick or until completely dispersed. Oh, I like the or until. Because we all mix at different rates. Okay. That's pretty thin. And the hardener, yeah, that one's thick. So this is why I would rather do a little bit of the thin, and then the thick, and then more of the thin. It'll make it a lot easier to mix it together. If you want to, you can take all the time you want, get every last drop, because it says 120 square feet. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking at that and I'm thinking there's no way 1 quart of material is doing 120 square feet. A tub refinishing product, but I could be wrong. Wow. Should be wearing a mask for this. Whew. Boy, if I did this every day for a living, I would be buying a really good ventilator. And don't worry, I got one for my camera guy. He's perfectly safe. Wow. And I'm intentionally stirring away from my face so I don't get any of the splash to my eyes, okay? This is actually really consistent. And can I just say, for anybody who's gonna try this at home, if you're not happy with the results in your house, it's because of the way you mixed. It's because of the humidity in your home. It's because of the time you took to apply it. It's because of the amount of time. There's no way they're gonna give you a warranty on your application. So don't think for 10 seconds that that's gonna happen. Don't forget, the contractor that I talked to wasn't gonna give me a warranty either. Oh, and for full disclosure, when I said no, that was way too expensive, he called back about 20 minutes later and offered me a discount for $900. Yep, $300 was the just because I feel greedy money. Gotta love it. Here we go. We got our paint. I got my tray. I got my roller sleeve. I'm not gonna put a lot in here because it'll be easier for me to manage. Let's go start on the wall. Now we're using a 4-inch roller. Both of these applications we used a 4-inch roller. This is a foam roller, not a microfiber roller, okay? All right, here we go. Let's try to be a little bit liberal with this right out of the gate. Liberal meaning giving it lots. All right. That applies nicer than that. I hope you can see that. This is not streaky. It's not runny. The application is nicer. Right out of the gate, I like this product. Not just because it smells great, but because it applies really well. We're gonna hit the side where it wasn't cleaned, and I'm basically loading up the roller. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of material here. That actually covers really nice. And then I'm gonna put it on the tub floor as well. This product is covering fantastic, even with a thin coat. Now notice the difference in the color of white. It's got a bit of a gray white, so this is why. They got a bit of a tint in this, so it covers better. Okay, the pure white doesn't cover as well. But with this little bit of gray tint in here, that's kind of nice. Yeah, you get great coverage. It's kind of like ceiling paint. They always put a little bit of tint in it so that ceiling paint covers really well. Listen, they tell you, give it a couple hours if you want. You can come back with a second coat. Next one's magic. Listen, this is a tub and tile refinishing kit in a box. Basically, it's 2 cans of spray paint, okay? And you're supposed to wear rubber gloves when you use this product. I, however, poured epoxy all over my gloves by accident, so my gloves are now in the garbage. It's a spray on. This one says you can even spray upside down. Get all those hard to reach places. Same thing, clean everything, mask everything, get rid of the silicones, all the same prep. This one says it does 35 to 45 square feet. Right away, you need at least 2 boxes for a tub, 4 boxes for a tub and surround. Okay, so it's 4 boxes of this. No, that's not, it's 3. Sorry, 3 boxes, my bad, misrepresentation. Now the price of this product is $60. So if you're doing just a tub, 1 might be enough if it's already a white tub. But if it's a colored tub, you're gonna need a second can. So we're gonna start this at 60 bucks. For the tub surround, which is the price we're doing, this is gonna be $120. It recommends to use a second coat, between 30 and 60 minutes for the second coat, which isn't bad, and that relates to the humidity level in the air. So if you're working with air conditioning, 38 is probably fine. Make sure humidity is below 85%, which means if your air conditioning is on, you're fine. Or if you're in the south and you're doing this in the wintertime, you're generally okay. Says spray 10 to 16 inches from the surface. And it also doesn't want you to just spray so that you cover from tape to tape. It wants you to go and do a bit of an overlap, okay? Very important when you're spraying. There's always a distribution of 60, 30, 20, 10, kind of percent-wise. So you gotta be careful of that. Most projects, 2 to 3 coats are sufficient. Expectations, right? So we're gonna be looking at 2 to 3 coats. Whoa, okay, ready for this? This is cool. 72 hours before cleaning, okay? Now, they didn't even say until you use the tub. I don't know. Is there any claim on here, 72 hours before you can get away? And the funny thing is, it also says 2 weeks before using bath mats or suction cups. They do not have an anti-skid. So it's 2 weeks before you can put your bath mat. Think about that, all right? It's an interesting thing in the product. It's gonna come out smooth. Might even suggest go out and buy yourself some fine white sand at the paint store. And after your first coat, throw a little white sand in there and put your next 2 sprays on top of that, and you can have an anti-skid. Because that's how the rest of the world works. We gotta shake this thing for about 3 minutes. Okay, that's enough. All right, here's our nozzle, 10 to 16 inches. That's some really off gas. Whenever you're spraying, you want to go light, okay? because if you go too heavy, it's likely to drip. Whew. Let's do the bottom as well. Wow, this stuff stinks. Do you hear this nozzle making noise? It says 360 degrees. You can even do this upside down, but all I'm doing is turning it to 90 degrees, and it's already sputtering. Which means I'm getting an inconsistent mix. There's one coat. All right, let's leave the room. This needs to ventilate. This is by far the worst product that we've used so far as air quality. All right, time for a second coat. That's even hard on the eyes. Right away I'm thinking, this is a good project if you have a tub that you can remove and take it outside and do this outside. Not something you want to do in your home unless you've got a good fan or negative air extraction, but this bathroom doesn't even have a fan. Third coat! Okay, the application is hell, but the look is phenomenal. I love this finish more than the other ones. It's harder to get there. It's a little more money than the Bathworks, but the finish is amazing. Just saying, what a stinky process. I really hope it lasts the flood test. All right, here we go again. Guys, product number 4, not a moo, which means no cow, okay? Just to be honest. Tub and tile refinishing. Look and feel of porcelain, all right? A washable finish. Of course it's washable, it's a bloody tub. We're looking at a spray pattern up to 35 square feet. Again, that means 2 boxes for one tub, 2 more boxes for a tub surround. You're talking 4 boxes for this whole kit, but it comes in at a whopping 32 bucks. 64 is 128 because it claims to do less square feet. It might be that Magic claims to do more square feet just so that it makes more financial sense competing against this on the shelf, but we're gonna find out. This one again, okay, 72 hours. The difference is, and I didn't get this right when I was telling you last time, this one said give it 2 weeks before you put a bath mat or suction cups on that. So it's cured in 72, but it's not cured yet. All right, so there's a difference between when a product is ready to be exposed to water and when a product is fully cured, okay? Like when we're pouring a concrete foundation at home, yeah, you know, you can start building on it a couple of days later, but it's curing for 2 years, all right? Think about that. That's how long all the moisture is leaving that concrete. In this scenario, we're looking at 3 days before you can actually use this thing, 2 weeks before you can use it and be safe. But it's cheaper, right? Or is it? Look at this, 70 bucks for Bathworks. Now this has got that high gloss look, okay? This is very matte, very muted, and it's a little on the gray side. We're going to do this spray as well. The difference here is this one, let's do this. This one said it was 30 minutes between coats, and this one is 15 minutes. I don't know if that makes it more volatile. We're gonna find out right now. More shaking. All right, that's enough. That looks really familiar, doesn't it? Not the same factory. For a minute there, I thought this was the same factory, just a different label. But they're different. They're different enough, I'll let them get away with it. Here we go, let's try this bad boy out. 8 to 10 inches. Oh, do not breathe. Oh. I don't like those different sounds. It just means it's not spraying consistently, you know? Okay, that's one coat. So right out of the gate, this one's applying and looking and smelling very similar to the last one. Whew. Who needs all their brain cells anyway? So first of all, before we go into my opinions on these products, we'll just talk about the tape. I use Scotch blue tape here, which means it's good to in direct sunlight for 7 days. You don't need it. You can get regular masking tape because you're only supposed to have this on for an hour. So let's be smart about this. I was in the store today and I saw the Scotch blue was hanging off the shelf, special display. And I checked the price, it was 12 something. And I'm like, wow, that's an expensive roll of tape. And because I'm paying attention to these things, I looked. Oh, look at this. We have Scotch blue and Scotch blue original. This one's called Sharp Lines. So even though it's a thinner piece of tape, it's $3 more expensive. To me, I think this is the brand new tape that's coming out to combat, like go head to head with frog tape. You've heard the green tape, frog tape, although, wow, we give you great clean lines when you're painting. If you're out there and you need blue tape, don't just grab what's laying on the shelf. Double check, it doesn't say Sharp Lines. You're throwing your money in the garbage. So here we are, this is done. Yes, this is messy. I know it's not a good representation because in the real world, I do the whole tub. And then I roll the whole tub. But the fact of the matter is, that is not covering, okay? I poured it and then I rolled it. As soon as I touched the roller, it left lines. That needs 2 coats. And because of the nature of this mess, there's no way you're going to be able to get that second coat done within 24 hours. So their 24-hour dry time sounds exciting, but in reality, you're probably 2 days and a second box of this product. So consider that. That's just my opinion. You're probably in the second box and the second day of making a mess. Bathworks, it's not white. It's kind of off-white. It's a little on the gray side. Now, if you're going with Carrera Marble and you're going with gray themes, this is great. The coverage of this is amazing. That's one coat coverage. One box will do the entire surround. It comes in as their cheapest option. It was the most controlled, the best coverage, and it was not offensive to the air, right? You could do that. And again, you can add the Nod skid in the second coat for the floor. You're good to go. 48 hours? Yeah, you can go 1 day without a shower. Okay, princess, don't worry about it. The two spray-ons, you know what? They both get a pretty decent result to look at. The management of that, however. We're also gonna do a flood test, okay? So we're gonna let this dry. You know what? Let's be kind. My camera guy's here on Tuesday next week. We're gonna give it a whole week to cure, just to be merciful. We're gonna flood test this sucker, okay? We're gonna fill it up and let it sit in water for 2 days. And then on Thursday, when he comes back next week, we're going to film the results, do a scratch test. We're going to see if these products can hold up even when they've had 3 times the amount of time they claim they need to cure. At the end of the day, you need to know, is a busy house going to hold up to this kind of abuse, right? So you guys are on notice. We're going to find out the truth right at the end of this video. Well, guys, it's been 48 hours since we did the application of the different paints. So I wanted to come in and check a couple of things. And real quick, right away you can see this, we weren't happy with the coverage as soon as we used a roller. That bothered me, and it still looks like that. It didn't find a way to blend, okay? This has got great coverage. And again, it's a little bit off-white. It's moving towards the gray. This one is nice and pure white, 3 coats. Works great. This one was 3 coats and it's still faded. You know, you can still see that brown coming through. So you're probably looking at 4 or 5 coats to get this one done. That becomes an issue because now you've got to buy another kit. So it makes it $180, $190. But I think the consensus on this was if you're going to be using either of these spray paints, you want to take your fixture outside. Great for sinks, great for a steel tub if you wanted to do that. But for something like this, in your home, this actually overpowered the entire house. And we had to leave. So if you're living in your house, consider a weekend at a hotel after you're done doing this because it's a bit pretty violent. Texture-wise, this one feels really good. It's nice and smooth, almost to the point where it's so smooth it's scary because if it gets wet, this would be crazy slippery. This was the product, the Bathworks, and it's got a bit of a texture, non-slip to it. It also had the sand, so you can do a second coat in the bottom of the tub, okay? So this is gonna work out really well. As far as the not offensive, this is the one I would go with, to be honest with you. I know it's not pure white, but what you get here is a refinish with a modern look. A little bit of a gray tone, you can work with that. You can adjust your paint colors and your flooring selection, and you can think through the end from the beginning to make sure that this isn't gonna look terrible. You could buy a white porcelain sink, for instance, and you could paint that sink too, right? Because this works great. As far as these two are concerned, again, you know, we're gonna do scratch tests just to give you an idea. I'm gonna use my ring because at the end of the day, what else is gonna be in here that's gonna scratch? Things like this, shower hoses, okay, they're all plastic and they're not gonna do the damage. So the only thing that you gotta worry is, after 48 hours, as the wedding ring, if I was to slip, does it mark up the surface? Wow, not even a scratch. And, oh, well, look at that. Let's try that again. We'll be a little more aggressive here. Okay. That actually scratched off. That marks the paint. I'm liking the way I'm doing that. I'm holding the ring right to there. Wow, that is really almost impervious. All right, both of these products held up really well. These ones scratch. That is really good to know. Now, remember this says 72 hours? This was before it gets wet. All right, guys, it's Tuesday morning. Now it's been a full 7 days. I was in yesterday, and I bought one of these little rubber plugs to do the tub shut, filled it up with water. So this has been sitting overnight now, and this is the flood test. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna drain all this out. We're gonna grab ourselves a metal tool called a 5-in-1, and I'm gonna try scratching all of the paints all over again, and especially down here, see if the water got underneath it at all, okay? And that'll tell us if we have good bond, because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're spraying a tub, it's got to be able to pass a flood test. If the paint starts to bubble or lift at all, or catch the tool, it didn't bond well enough and you can't use it. Okay, so now we're gonna do another final scratch test, but this time instead of my wedding ring, I'm gonna use an actual tool. I figure after 7 days, a good cured paint should not have any problem resisting this tool, all right? So we're gonna try it flat, and we're gonna go on an angle. Okay, you see that? All right, we'll try it again, flat. Whoop. Yep. Okay. Even flat. All right. And then, yep. All right. Now what that tells us is all of these things are paints. They're sitting on the surface. This tub itself even scratches. All right. Just to make that clear. Okay, even the tub itself scratches. It's fiberglass with a painted surface. We're not trying to compare apples and oranges here. Paint is paint is paint no matter when it gets applied. The point is the wedding ring is the most scratchy thing that this is ever gonna see, all right? Still getting bad results on the spray paint. That wasn't bad. Wow, that's really almost bulletproof, that stuff. Let's see what happens here. We're gonna start with this one and see if we can get underneath it. No, that, wow, that was even on a small drip. Oh, man, that is really strong. I kind of figured that drip line would peel off real easy, but hard to get under it, eh? Okay. Wow. That came up real easy. This is really a telling sign, isn't it? Yeah, this is, that's gonna be an issue. Now we know, we got paints. This was only one application. It was supposed to be 2 with a little bit of sand and then a third if you wanted to for the bottom. And I think at the end of the day, as long as you're not wearing your skates in here, you're gonna be okay. But the fact is, this one really held up well against the tool. If you're looking for a quick, simple fix on a sink or a tub and you can get it outside, pick one of these two. I like the Magic, it just because I like the texture. I like something that's got a texture, but if it's for a sink, the full gloss is probably a better option, right? Because texture will grab dirt and it'll be harder to clean. So this is great for a sink. This would be great for a tub if you're spraying it outside. As soon as you come inside though, you're gonna have to know that it's either a project that you can walk away from for a week while it cures with the windows open, or you're gonna have to go something like this. This is a great price and it'll get you a few years if you're careful with it. But if you're looking for bulletproof, this is your product. The problem is, at this price, 320 bucks, you might end up getting some of this action and need a second coat, and then you're really invested. If you do it yourself, it's still only half price of calling in the pro. So, I'm not gonna tell you which one to buy. I'm just gonna tell you what I would suggest is make sure A, you're gonna be taking good care of it. B, you've got great ventilation if you're using something like this. C, if it's a budget issue, you get what you pay for. The more money you invest, the better the product. End of discussion, right? But you can get away with a $70 fix if you're going to be careful. Cheers to next time.